Am I the asshole for telling my brother-in-law I'm not his kid's mother? My brother-in-law's, Connor, wife passed away over a year ago. I had a good relationship with her and their 2 kids. This loss affected everyone. The family got together to help Connor with the kids. He used to live in an apartment he hasn't worked in a year, and my in-laws were unable to pay for rent anymore. My husband asked if Connor and the kids could stay with us temporarily. I immediately agreed and found time to get everything ready. Once Connor arrived, he did little to nothing when it came to the kids. I started taking care of the kids' needs because he asked. I handled feeding, cleaning, and playing activities. But kids are in constant need of care and attention. Every time his 3-year-old asks him to make a sandwich or help with the bathroom or wearing clothes or anything, Connor'd point at me and say Auntie will do it. I end up taking care of it. Although he got nothing to do, either on his laptop or sleeping. One time his 5-year-old was calling for him to help him with something in the shower. Connor asked me to go instead. I got annoyed, then he shrugged his shoulders saying he'd just ignore him then, resulting in me handling it. I couldn't ignore it. My husband's as a dentist, he's not home always. I work from home, but I too am not always available. I made this clear to Connor and he said no problem and will handle it. Yesterday I was in an important meeting. I was in the office. And suddenly my 3-year-old nephew was knocking on the door wanting me to help him because he wet himself. And Daddy told him to come to me. I had to pause. I ran out and found my nephew sitting on the floor. I cleaned him up and took him to the bathroom. I was kicked out of the meeting since it wasn't the first time I leave. I was mad. I went to see what Connor was busy with. He was busy playing an online game and talking to a lady. I asked him and he brushed me off. I unplugged the device and told him his neglect cost me a meeting and that I already told him my work can't be interrupted to take care of the kids while he ignores them and avoid responsibility. He criticized me saying a few minutes won't hurt and brought up how overwhelmed he was and needing help. I snapped, yelled at him that I'm not his kid's mother. He was staggered. Clearly what I said made him too upset to react. He argued with me then left the house. My in-laws took an issue with what I said, calling it ghastly callous treatment towards someone that lost his wife so recently. They offer to help but then they make excuses, saying I need someone to give me a talking to learn some empathy for those poor kids. My husband said I was right to be upset, but I hurt Connor by what I said and I shouldn't have handled it like that, making him feel like he and his kids are a burden. They're expecting to apologize to him. What gets me is that Connor posts pictures of the kids on Facebook talking about how he's making so much effort to keep the kids healthy and happy while I'm the one doing the work. He basically lies and pretends to be a caring parent on Facebook. This made me upset. No idea why he does this. My in-laws don't understand that working from home is also stressful. They claimed it's not real work, but I was just making excuses and causing arguments. Not the asshole. Your brother-in-law is neglecting his children. I could give him the benefit of the doubt and say it's depression, but I'm going to go out on a limb and assume he doesn't want these children. This isn't going to get better and in fact can only get worse. What about when y'all get fed up with how lazy he is? Are you going to kick them out? I don't see this being a good situation for the kids. I might suggest either you guys fight for custody of the kids or someone else. He isn't fit to be a parent. You might have hurt Connor, but I think Connor needs to be hurt right now. He does not have his priorities, his children, straight, and someone needs to make him see that. He hurts his children and that can't go on like this. He may need therapy too. Not the asshole. Edit. I'm so sorry, but he holds you hostage, by your love for the kids. This can't go on like this. Either he steps up or you take legal guardianship of the kids and he moves out alone. I can't imagine what damage the kids already suffered by losing their mom and now being ignored by their dad. Right now I want to punch Connor in the face on their behalf. Not the asshole. Connor should be apologizing to you. Yes, it's terrible that he lost his wife and the children lost their mother, but you're not her. And these are not your kids. And you have to work. He's doing nothing. If your in-laws feel so bad, ask them if he can go and live with them. See how fast they backpedal. The help he needs is counseling and getting off his butt and being parent to his kids. Not yours, his. You and your husband need to have a conversation with him and make sure you're both on the same page. Otherwise, he's going to continue to live there and expect you to raise his kids. Not the asshole. He was sending his kids to you as if you were their mother and you were doing things for them, from feeding to playing, as if you were a parent. You set the record straight. He's a huge asshole for being inconsiderate to someone who is letting him and his children live rent-free. Not the asshole. His wife passed, in your words, over a year ago. I could understand if he was having trouble functioning, in which case I'd say he was in need of professional help. From what you've described, he simply has no interest in helping around the house or taking care of his kids, and is showing no respect for boundaries. He needs to be involved in the lives of his children, and should be the first one responsible for caring for them, especially if you are working. Tell your in-laws you'll apologize for being harsh when Connor apologizes to you for disrupting your work and he apologizes to his kids for not being a parent. And you need to step back with the kids. You are there to help, not do everything. He is the parent. I think rules need to be in place about Connor's computer usage. Not the asshole. Your in-laws should take Connor in. Your husband is also the asshole because Connor is a clear burden to you. A burden you have stated you were okay with taking on if Connor were doing his fair share, but he's taken advantage of you accommodating him. Not the asshole. Pack your bags and stay with a friend or your parents for a week. Tell your husband that if he wants to lend his spouse out to his brother indefinitely and without limit, he will need to find a wife who will consent to that. Everybody is a goddamned asshole except you and the kids. Your brother-in-law is chatting up women online. He's not still emotionally devastated. He's using you as a replacement wife until he can hook another on the line. You are not the asshole. Your in-laws, however. Even if you were the mother, he is still responsible for his spawn. And #X200B. If he was busy in a meeting, a proper work meeting, I suspect you would be accepting of some of the duties so as to not leave the spawn in wet clothing, but that is because you are a decent human, not because you are stepping in as mum. Not the asshole. Connor sounds like he doesn't do even the most basic things for his kids. If he can play video games and talk to women, he can take care of his kids. Even if you were the mother, he sounds like a terrible dad for the way he neglects his kids. And yes, he lost his wife and may still be grieving, or he may just be lazy. But parents are still parents even when they lose their spouses. In those situations, terrible as they may be, parents have to power through their grief and take care of their kids. Not the asshole, but every other adult in this story is. I am so sorry for Connor's loss, and I know there is no timeline on grief, but it has been over a year, not just a week or two. He should be able to help his children, and they need a relationship with him more than ever, not to constantly be passed off on their aunt, especially while you are working. Your in-laws and husband are completely wrong. Of course they are worried about and have a ton of sympathy for their son and brother, yet you are the only one expected to do the hard work of picking up his slack. You need to have a serious conversation with your husband about how things are going to work going forward. None of this is fair to you. Not the asshole. You snapping on him should be the wake-up call he needs. The way things are, he and his kids are a burden on you. They wouldn't be, if he did his fatherly duties. Why shouldn't you tell him that? Any demands for an apology on your part should be taken as volunteering to step up to handle him and the kids. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Refuse. Document everything. Connor sent kids to me at 3:23 p.m. because they were hungry. Connor was playing games. I was working. Get a notebook and keep it next to you. Document everything. Then sit his ass down with it once you've done it for a week or two. This is all of the stuff I have done for your children because you neglect them. Step up or I go to CFS. He is neglecting his children. That's abuse. Grief doesn't mean he can stop being a dad. Not the asshole. While it was a bit harsh, he needed it. He also needs to be taking care of his own kids. He is welcome to get help from people, but he should be doing most of the work. This is affecting your job, which isn't fair to you. Not the asshole. This guy is living rent-free in your house, apparently not helping with anything, not even taking care of his own children, but you have to have empathy for the kids? This makes no sense. Not the asshole, he needs to remember that he's the parent and his children are his responsibility. If he needs grief counseling, he should get some. He's effectively abandoning his children. He might be in the same room physically, but it doesn't sound as if he's in the same room mentally or emotionally. His children don't deserve the way he's treating them. Good luck. Not the asshole. Connor is now a parasite on his family. Yes, it sucks he lost his wife, and his kids lost their mother, but that is no excuse to stop being a parent. He is neglecting his kids. Not the asshole. Hopefully this is the wake-up call for him to remember he still has a part of his wife with him in the kids. Not the asshole. Something tells me that he wasn't an active parent even before to begin with. If your pill have issued, they are free to help him instead. No room for unsolicited opinions from people that are not affected from the whole situation. Not the asshole. Your brother-in-law is abusing your kindness, he is neglecting his children, period. Your husband should speak up to his family and make them aware of brother-in-law unacceptable behavior. Take your home back. Brother-in-law Cam moved to his parents' place. Once in-laws realize how lazy and neglectful he is, they will appreciate your effort, not that it matters at all. Not the asshole. You brother-in-law is taking advantage of you and your husband kindness. Sad to say, he is using his wife's death as an excuse to be a pathetic human being. His children lost their mother and he should be the one who is emotionally there for them. Those poor kids need someone to step up for them, and I think you started in the right direction. He needs to be more productive and start creating his own life where he is able to take care of his kids on his own. I don't think you were harsh, it's the truth. You are not their mother, nor are you a replacement. It's easy for your in-laws to criticize you when they aren't the ones who are dealing with this every day. Not the asshole. Losing your spouse does not mean you get to neglect your parental duties.
Not the asshole. His kids, his responsibility, period. It's not your job to coddle a grown man with responsibilities, and anyone who thinks he should be coddled should do so with their own time and resources. Helping out with his children is one thing, but doing so to the detriment of your own well-being and employment is a definite no. Either he is taking full advantage of the situation or he is in need of help, also not your responsibility. You and your husband need to give him a timeline for how long he can be there. You need to make your boundaries clear and stick to them.
Nacho kids. Nacho problem. Not the asshole. What you said was harsh, yes. But honestly, he had it coming, and you weren't wrong. Helping take care of the kids isn't the same thing as doing all the child rearing. It's clear when his wife was alive, she did all the childcare. Brother-in-law is comfortable and clearly using his grief as an excuse to be lazy. Why is it okay for him to allow his kids to disrupt you while you're working, but he can sit around playing video games and chatting with people online? I understand depression, but he's not doing anything to help himself. Definitely talk to your husband about setting boundaries and come up with a plan moving forward. This isn't a long-term solution, and hubby and in-laws need to stop putting so many expectations on you. NTA. Change up your Wi-Fi. Like you would for a child. Bet if he can't play games or chat with women, he'd find a job real fast. If you don't deal with this, you'll have the kids until they are adults. And he'll never find a job. Get your husband in board, and come up with a plan. Or leave. You and your husband must be a united front, or you will be mom. By default. Is it worth your career and marriage? For Connor to sit on his ass? Time for real talk with your partner.
Not the asshole. I get that Connor is grieving, but at the same time he is taking advantage of you. It sounds as though he's completely abdicated responsibility for his kids to you, and that's not a fair position to put you in. Hopefully this will be a wake-up call. But it may be time to rope your husband in and have a serious discussion with Connor about boundaries regarding his kids. Not the asshole. Nothing about what you said was incorrect. You aren't the parent, he is, and he needs to step up. Your husband and in-laws need to be careful what they wish for, because if I were you I would apologize. Connor, I'm sorry you can't make the time to be a good father to your children, and I'm sorry, but I can no longer continue to parent them in your absence.
Dear OP's husband, your brother and his kids are a burden to your wife. Op. Not the asshole. Give them a time limit to get out or you will. Not the asshole. Do you have someone else to stay with? You need to pack your shit and leave for a while. Wow. He's avoiding responsibility and making excuses. Not the asshole. What you said wasn't rude. Startling, yes, but only because everyone has been hiding from reality for a year. It isn't healthy for anyone, especially the children. Even if you were their mother, what he is doing is unacceptable. He would still be a neglectful father sitting on the couch and directly causing harm to your career. It would still be his duty to care for the children while you work. It's completely understandable that you snapped. There are 4 blood-related adults who are not caring for the children. You don't mention your husband taking over even for an afternoon to relieve the pressure on you. It's outrageous. You have been their sole carer for a year. And now they have the audacity to say you need to have a talking to? You are not the family help. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Connor needs to grow up and man up. Not the asshole. Go away for a few days and let them scramble. Then let's see how much Connor and your in-laws actually care. Because if it is that easy, they should be able to do it, right? I'd feel bad for the kids though. Unless you plan on adopting them after terminating his rights, I don't see this ending well. I absolutely love this. You should tell him to fuck off. You are not a maid. Don't get taken advantage of anymore. Not the asshole. The man is neglecting his children and taking advantage of you. Yes, he and his children have suffered a great loss, but he needs to take care of his own life. It's been over a year and he is due for some tough love. He needs a job, therapy, and he especially needs to learn how to parent on his own. Not the asshole. Check into a hotel for a week and work from there. See how brother-in-law likes that and how much your husband and brother-in-law can take care of the kids and realize how much work it is. I bet after a day or two they would beg you to come back. You should insist he seek counseling and some sort of job or pastime that is constructive during the day. But you guys would end up probably paying for it too. The in-laws are so adamant is because they know if you don't let brother-in-law stay there he would be at their house with his kids and they would have to take care of them. Not the asshole.
Not the asshole. Wow. This guy doesn't want to be a parent. Sad face. That's so grim. If he's in a decent place enough to be playing online games, he can step up and take care of his own children. Neglecting them and harming your job because he CBA to look after his kids is not acceptable. Ask your in-laws to take him and the kids in, if they don't like how you've dealt with him. He needs to step up, move out, or hire a nanny.
NTA. And this makes me so angry on your behalf. If your in-laws want to get involved so bad then they should take them in. You need get your husband to understand the situation he's putting you in and try come up with a long-term plan for your living arrangements. What the super nut? Working from home, no real work? What the super nut? Not the asshole. Like so not the asshole. I've been working from home since March 2020 and I have no kids. It's so stressful, essential worker. That WFH killed almost all of my hobbies and I almost nothing but work. Was as hard what you told Bill? Yes, but it was justified. Don't apologize and stop doing anything for your Bill. Don't move a finger for him and maybe write under his book face comments what's really happening. Give him a deadline to get a grip, find therapy or counseling or find a new place to stay. Maybe write him a bill for childcare and for the money you lose because you can't do your job because he's been a lazy ass. Not the asshole. My husband said I was right to be upset but I hurt Connor by what I said and I shouldn't have handled it like that, making him feel like he and his kids are a burden. But right now, they are a burden. Your career is at risk. I'm sympathetic because losing a spouse is probably one of the most difficult things anyone can go through, but he needs to step up. Grieving after over a year, sure. Not doing your job as a father after over a year? Nope, he's an asshole. Not the asshole.
Nope, you are not the asshole at all. I would even go as far to say from what you have written, that it looks as if your Bill is using his wife's death as an excuse to pawn off his kids and responsibilities and to other people. I think you also have unfortunately enabled this behavior. Bill cannot go on like this forever and needs to start sorting himself out. I would have a chat with her husband and between yourselves start coming up with some rules and boundaries and a plan for if Bill chooses not to follow these. Yes, he has every right to grieve, but he also needs to pull his finger out and start setting up as a parent.
Not the asshole. Considering the fact that he's basically using his grief as an excuse to no longer parent his kids, it worries me as to whether or not he will eventually step up as a parent again. Just because your significant other passes away doesn't mean you're allowed to stop being a parent. And if you can't handle that, you should probably put your kids out for adoption, which would be even worse because then basically your kids are losing both parents. That dude needs to snap out of it for his kids.
Not the asshole, but this problem is more related to your husband than to your brother-in-law. He is the one allowing him to take advantage of you. NTA. They are a burden which you have been good enough to help with. They are his kids though, he needs to suck it up. Get a job, or take care of his kids. I think you need to apologize for hurting him, but it's high time to set some boundaries in your home for Connor. Which include things like cleaning, taking care of your children during work hours, and looking for a job. You don't just stop being a parent after you lose a partner. Check out our Just No Family.
Not the asshole. I believe you did everything correctly except that comment. It just came out and hopefully that'll bring Connor back to reality. Yes, I agree in that you shouldn't make him feel like him and his kids are a burden, but like, they kinda are. His kids have no say in the matter, and I don't know Connor personally, and I know grief is super hard, especially in times like this. Best of luck, Op.